Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to this gathering of people united by a commitment to create in light. This is an especially uplifting realization as we're living in crucial times of extreme changes worldwide. Not only do these changes affect our global environment, but they are accompanied by wars and dangerous scenarios. Simultaneously, as predicted last century, the tide of the new life is increasingly sweeping into human awareness, and there is a sea change in the consciousness of peoples everywhere. Now there are so many people of goodwill and of deep spiritual endeavor that it's hard to reconcile these two scenarios. But spiritual teachings remind us that the opposite of war is not peace, but change. So this is an essential point to hold on to. The strength of this tide of new spiritual energies is remarkable, and the changes that are being initiated profound. Never before has there been a time when the good of the whole has been such an important focus of thought and action for so many people all around the world. There is, of course, considerable fear and bewilderment too. For not only is the best in humanity being expressed, but the impact of these energies on a developing but still clearly imperfect humanity has also revealed the remaining depths of selfishness and cruelty. This has a bearing on our triangle service, and we need to remember that undirected energies are neutral. They automatically stimulate whatever thoughts, desires, and ambitions we have, just as the sun and rain will bring to life whatever seeds are lying dormant in the soil. And this fact reminds us how important it is to direct these invoked energies along constructive pathways with the conscious use of prayer, meditation, and love-infused thought. They can then powerfully help reinforce what is good and offset what is negative. Indeed, one of the principal characteristics of these new energies is the quality of ritual and ceremonial order, consciously using rhythm to ground new ideas, to create order from existing chaos. And as we gather to meditate on the service of triangles, it's lovely to think of these meetings and the planetary network itself as a living organism being vivified by each participant. They breathe in to align themselves with their higher self, holding the gathered light, then projecting it within their triangles and outward to the planetary network. Finally pausing to allow the visualization to do its work. This requires using the mind's eye to see the light, a light which can be visualized and also internally sensed. But it also incorporates the sense of listening, keenly receptive to the powerful redemptive words of the Great Invocation and the sacred word, the Om. In the Ages Wisdom Teachings, triangles is designated an important part of our work in support of the reappearance of the Christ, or coming one. And those of us who have long established triangles welcome new participants to this creative service and to sharing the important endeavor of continually enlivening it with our deepening spiritual life. We keep this process of growing recognitions alive through our own development when we consciously invoke spiritual energy as we do when sounding the great invocation with intention. And this is something that our speaker, Maite Gomez, is going to be addressing. Engaging in this group service means that we are encouraging the purification of our own lives at the same time. This flow of increased energy may cause us to awaken to unknown and unrealized aspects of ourselves, our cultures and environments, as well as the consequences of human actions as a species. This is something that is often difficult to bear, but it's a process that allows a steady shift towards group consciousness too. There is a challenge for some of us in the important aspects of sensitivity and receptivity involved. We cannot see light, only its effects, and yet it's possible to imagine and direct it inwardly. And when sounding the great invocation, these perceptions combine into a fusion of heart and mind, which is both powerful and very healing on many levels. For Triangles is a beautiful and noble service of planetary healing, working through imperfections on so many levels. And with its rhythmic ritual of creative thought, it presents a marvelous opportunity. Although many people only think of ritual in terms of a formal artist ceremony, like a church or a temple, Triangles offers a meditation and an inclusive world prayer linking Eastern and Western traditions. And so we're now learning to focus on and understand the inner meaning behind the outer appearances. And when we consciously apply this focus to our rituals, we may find a whole new world of heart and mind unfolding. So all Triangles workers inevitably develop a degree of understanding about this inner significance of ritual. And with our daily rhythm of visualizing 3 lighted points of all our triangles as integrated parts in an active global network of undoubted spiritual power, we are actually helping to develop a new understanding of ritual as a ceremony in consciousness. Instead of an outer building, we're creating and beautifying an inner structure of light that envelops the world and helps to provide the right atmosphere in which humanity can develop constructive attitudes and make right decisions. We are actually generating a global pulsation of light that daily assists in planting the seeds of right thoughts and actions in human consciousness, seeds we can all eagerly anticipate growing into sturdy structures that will support the inner temple of a spiritually awakening humanity. So after these few introductory thoughts, let's go into our visualization now and reflect on the great invocation together. Lincoln thought, is a soul, was a point of love and light with all people throughout the world who are part of the Triangle's service work. Visualize the world situation as best you can and see people everywhere glowing with a dim light, and here and there points of brighter light, where men and women of spiritual intention and of loving hearts are working for their fellow human beings. Then visualize through the creative imagination the vivid light of the spiritual kingdom streaming towards humanity and slowly merging with the light which is already in humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. Then ponder upon the reappearance of the coming world teacher. Realize that no matter by what name he may be called in the many religions, he is still the same great identity. Reflect and speculate on the possible results of his appearance. From a point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. Concentrate your fixed intention to serve and to spread love in your surroundings, and realize that insofar as you can do these things, you are attempting to blend your personal will with the divine will. Say stanza 3 of invocation. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, purpose which the masters know and serve. Sound the Om, the sacred word, dedicate the threefold personality to the working out of the divine plan. We now have great pleasure in introducing our speaker today, Mate Gomez. Mate is a student of the Ageless Wisdom teachings, a co-worker, a psychosynthesis psychotherapist, and a coordinator of the group for creative meditation. And her talk is entitled, I, the Triangle Divine. Mighty, please go ahead and unmute yourself and start your talk.
Thank you, Chris. It is a joy for me to be here with you and a privilege, and to be also with those who may be listening to this recording later on the web. Thank you all for this opportunity to serve. Today, I wanted to share with you the journey that I have experienced so far while participating in this service of triangles. I thought it could be useful to share it because what happens to each of us in this work is happening in the group field. and we can all benefit from reflecting on it and distilling wisdom from it. So hopefully the sharing of this experience will plant in our group another seed for further collective growth. When I incorporated the Great Invocation into my daily practice, I experienced it as a blessing, a benediction for myself and for humanity. I had the experience of light, love, and power streaming forth to my mind, to my heart, and to my whole being. And I also visualized how it was streaming forth for the whole of humanity. It was mostly a self-focused experience, and I don't mean that in a judgmental way, just as the statement of a fact. I was the focus of the benediction, and then humanity was a bit in the background. When I started doing triangles work, I heard someone say that it was a triangle for prayer, and I embraced that idea joyfully. I thought it would be great for me to experience this benediction while connecting with 2 other people who were doing the same. And this became an experience of what we may call aspirational prayer. Roberto Assagioli says that this includes the conscious desire that something may be granted, that may descend to ourselves or to others, and also the upward projection of our demand and aspiration. And that has the effect of lifting our center of consciousness in some measure onto the subtler levels of the inner world. And thus it is an elevating process. Today, I can understand how this elevating process happened in me. First, literally elevating me from the self-centeredness of my work with the Great Invocation to a wider sense of group endeavor. And even more deeply, it represented that first move upwards toward contact with the inner world, and that opened the door for the next stages in my evolution with this service. And yet, despite the deeper sense of aspiration and of contact with inner life, during this first stage of my experience of triangles, I now realize that there was a sense of separation, as if we, down here, were praying for something to happen out there. I was visualizing light, love, and power descending to us in the triangle and into humanity as something that happens to us, and that we pray for it to happen and to happen to humanity. Sometime after that, I was reading Lysistras's literature on triangles, and something really hit me. What hit me was the awareness that we are doing etheric work. The awareness that to say the Great Invocation with 2 other co-workers was not just a practice of invocation or a prayer. It was not just a visualization of light, love, and power descending onto us. What hit me was that we are doing something in order to have an effect on humanity's etheric body. In other words, it was the realization that we are working with energy. I moved from having light, love, and power as mental concepts, objects that I visualized in my mind, to feeling them as energies moving in the etheric body of the inner worlds. And the reality of humanity's etheric field entered my consciousness. Slowly, the beauty of this new etheric reality became part of my practice. I understood, embraced, and embodied the notion that invocation is not the end in itself. Rather, invocation is a tool. And with that tool, we focus on and release spiritual energies of light, love, and power that are going to vitalize this network. And since all energy is in ceaseless motion and flows naturally, once we have contributed to this release, we need to work on perpetuating the flow of spiritual energy and increase it in volume and in potency by rhythmic impulsing. What I understood, embraced, and embodied was the notion that we are directing energy. And as I entered into this energy work as deeply as I could, I started to understand that tiny bit of its purpose. We focus on, release, and direct spiritual energies so that they can flow within the network of triangles that we create. And this network then impregnates the etheric body of humanity with these spiritual energies. The word impregnates impressed me so deeply and resonated with me for a long time in my daily practice. Slowly, I started to have a felt sense, that the power with which all triangles workers release and direct energy, which is our spiritual intention, will impinge upon human consciousness. And in turn, human consciousness then will be expressed through human behavior, action, and opinion. Thus, what we're doing is stimulating humanity with a magnetic radiation of light, love, and power. This is the profound service that we are called to do. When I understood the depth of this impregnating and inspired by the study of the Lucis Trust's materials, I had several realizations. One, that the circulation, distribution, and transmission of light, love, and power happens through each of us, through each individual, and through each triangle. We are not invoking and waiting for a response. We are invoking the energies to be released from the source, and we are conducting them ourselves. We are co-participants. Two, that we are carrying out a redemptive project. The teachings tell us that the plan is about healing, and that all of us, spiritually minded individuals and groups, are called to consecrate our efforts to the task of developing will to good on earth as one of the ways to offer this healing. The third realization: from self-centeredness, I had moved to some understanding of group endeavor, and from there, I soon moved to a deeper sense of interdependence. We are like an electrical system in which energy is being transmitted from the highest and most powerful source to the lower outlets. higher or lower, we are all intrinsic parts of the same web. We all depend on one another. We depend on higher sources to release their energies to us, the lower entities. And they depend on us to be the distributors in incarnation. Christians would say, we are the hands and feet of Christ. Four is that our work is an act of will. We are told that desire works from and through the material form upwards, and will works downwards into form, bending form consciously to divine purpose. The one is invocative and the other is evocative. When evoked, will ends desire and becomes an immanent, propulsive, driving force. Will is realized purpose. And I am deeply touched by the invitation to participate in bending form consciously to divine purpose. And the fifth realization I had is that as I experienced more and more deeply that the circulation, distribution, and transmission of light, love, and power happens through me, through each of us, through each individual, and through each triangle, I became more and more aware of the fact that, as our mantra says, I am the triangle divine. We are the triangle divine. I am an outlet in an electrical system because I am a tiny manifestation of the triangle divine. I am an embodiment of light, love, and power. I am spirit made flesh. Each of us is a triangle divine. This is in our affirmation. In the center of the will of God, I stand. I am a cell within the body of God. This is my origin and my essence. Naught shall deflect my will from His. Because God and I, God and us, are the same being. We cannot be separated. Our will is one. I implement that will by love. The energy of power envelops itself in love. I turn towards the field of service. Will and love become intelligent action. I, the triangle divine. I'm not just a tiny human being in my little corner of the world, praying or invoking. I am the triangle divine made flesh, and I am fully present in this network of light as an act of will. Work out that will. I am a triangle of light, love, and power. I am a tiny yet indispensable part of the network, and I have a responsibility. I have something to work out. I have a task. There is a living alchemy within me of power and love about to become intelligent activity. Within the square, here on earth, for humanity, and serve my fellow man. My service, my intelligent activity, is that with this etheric work I have contributed to impregnating humanity with power, love, and will. When I look back at my journey, I see it as a necessary one, almost inevitable, predictable, because it is a tiny version of Hercules' journey, of every aspirant's journey from self-awareness to group consciousness, and from isolation to the understanding of etheric interdependence. And it is a beautiful journey for me, because it is expansive, because each lower stage has the seed for the higher stage, and because each of the higher stages includes all the lower ones before it. For indeed, I think Triangle's work is a benediction for all of us. It is aspirational prayer. It is etheric work. And it is an etheric web of which we are an intrinsic component. We are in a web of interdependence. And you and I, each of us, each triangle, is a tiny and indispensable part of this cosmic web. I invite all of us to be conscious of this in our everyday practice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Just like to reflect on some of the things you've said. The inspiring way you've outlined your own journey with triangles. And it's sort of, you express so well the significance of triangles and how it unfolded within you, accompanied by this growing responsibility to the group. So thank you so much, Matty.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
So before we share any further thoughts between Matty and I, if anyone would like to discuss anything or share a comment, please do raise your hand. And when I call your name, unmute yourself. That's usually a button on the bottom left side of the Zoom page.
Hey, Chris, there's a
Matty, well,
hand here from Robin Flatley.
okay. Yes. Robin, please unmute yourself.
I want to share that this is the most beautiful practice I have ever experienced. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Robin. I think in a way what you just presented is the synthesis of what we have been saying, both Chris in her intro and then me in my talk. This is the most beautiful work that we can do. Thank you. There is all of this consciousness and this evolution. Yeah. Thank you, Robin.
Matty, while we're waiting for somebody else, you mentioned when we spoke earlier that a lot of the inspiration you drew for your talk was from the Techniques of Triangles booklet.
Yes.
And yeah, and that's, that's, it's so interesting how you can read something academically or just skim through it, oh, I know all this. Or you can really read and look at the meaning that is being conveyed to us.
Indeed. And Chris, on the very first page of that booklet, this is what it says. It says, Triangles work is an activity whereby a network of light and goodwill covering the entire planet is created and maintained. And then it says, this is a basic and fundamental statement, but understanding its real significance only starts at that point. And I think that's absolutely right. That we read something and we understand it at the level of awareness that we have at that particular time. But then we move on and we do our practice and we grow in our practice. And then when we read that statement again, we are ready for something else. We are ready for another level of understanding. This is, for me, this is the beauty of the synthesis between meditation and study. These are not two separate activities. I meditate, and then I'm ready to go back to study and to gather more wisdom from what I study. And then I continue with my practice. And then by moving into study again, I am able to understand more, which I take back to my practice. And for me, it was quite shocking to see that what I was experiencing in my evolution had already been said in the first paragraph of this booklet.
Yes.
But it takes us the whole experience to get there, which is completely understandable.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, if anybody would like to read the Triangles booklet, it's posted on the Triangles website. There's just, I'm just going to go and see if anybody is. Yes, Brad Berg. Please unmute yourself and share with us your thoughts.
Thanks, Christine. So, Maita, that was a really lovely way of speaking about your individual experience with triangles, yet taking the ego out of the process. It's very, really good. And about your comment just a moment ago about the synthesis of meditation and study, it reminds me so many times throughout the books, DK mentions meditation, study, and discipline. So I just think of the discipline part as the implementation of what we experience and then develop through meditation and study. Lovely talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. And, you know, when I hear you say discipline, as we are able to put into practice what we learn in the study, then that is how we grow and we help others grow. And perhaps then the discipline of doing that is what brings the synthesis between meditation and study into our daily lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, discipline is not just the personality working on all our imperfections. You know, if you take the meaning of the word, you know, it's disciple or discipline to follow. And so we're following what comes from the meditation and study, and that's implemented by the soul.
Yeah. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brad. It's particularly important what you're saying, particularly for people who have been doing triangles for many, many years. It's like everything, you need to refresh your own inner life.
Yes.
You know, keep it alive. That is what you're saying, really, in so many words. And it's
Yes.
just very, very important. But on the other hand, it's also good to remember that the Tibetan mentions somewhere that the whole idea of networking should be taken advantage of with triangles, which of course we do. But that it's also a practice that is so simple that you can introduce it to somebody who doesn't have a lot of esoteric knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And they can, you know, get a lot out of visualizing light and sensing and being uplifted by the greater network. So you can cover and go reach quite far out with triangles at the same time.
Yes, I agree. And there is a paradox here because this is simple and at the same time is so complex in the sense that it has many layers. And in sharing my journey with you, with the group, I have spoken to you about 4 or 5 layers, and I trust that the journey will continue and that there will be more layers. So it is a simple activity that any of us can do, and yet with many complex layers for us to travel through and to keep growing. And as we keep growing, the group grows. I am very touched by the words of the Tibetan when he calls us to be magnetic and radioactive, because there are going to be divine forces. There are divine forces being poured into the world, and we need to work with those. So to be magnetic and radioactive, for that, triangles work is just but the beginning. Simple work that we can all do, becoming magnetic and radioactive in whatever degree we can, and then grow together as that radioactive force so that we can grow as servers.
It's beautiful. A beautiful ending, I think, too, Marty, of this discussion. I wish we had more time. This always happens. And there's so much to explore, but you've actually encapsulated in your talk so much for us to reflect on, and I really appreciate the energy and the thought and the wisdom you have put into your talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you for this opportunity to serve. Thank you.
So let us close now, as we always do, with meditation, with a meditation to energize the planetary network of triangles. So let's come together as a group unity on the mental plane. Identify as a soul with the world group functioning through 3 planetary centers, London, Geneva, and New York, as a triangle of light. Extend identification through the soul to the new group of world servers, to the hierarchy, and to the Christ, the transcendent point of synthesis at the center of every triangle, and to the triangle of energies standing behind the Christ. Identify the center Shambhala, the center of purpose and power. Recognize the synthesis of three streams of cosmic energy within Shambhala, where the will of God is known, using the dedication in the center of the will of God I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from his. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Visualize a network of lighted triangles underlying the entire outer world of physical life and events. See this network linking all triangle units and relating all points of light throughout the world. See the network relating the world of spiritual realities, the hierarchy, to the world of experience, humanity, and acting as a channel of distribution within humanity for the spiritual energies pouring through the hierarchy. Transforming the planetary etheric vehicle to receive and circulate the energies of the soul and the triad, will, love, light. Realize that the energies of light, love, and the will to good, evoked by all triangle workers, pulsating through the planetary network of triangles, are having an inevitable effect within the three worlds, mental, emotional, and etheric, of human evolution, lifting human consciousness and helping to create the path of light for the feet of the Christ. Reflect on the purpose, function, and right development of the Triangles Network as a hierarchical activity. Blended with the group, stand with positive intent as a station of radiant light within the network of light and goodwill. Sound the adapted gratification, directing the triple energies through the Triangles Network and throughout the consciousness of humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you so much for your participation today, and we look forward to meeting up again on the second Monday in November, Monday the 11th. I also wanted to let you know about the annual World Goodwill Seminar, which is on Saturday the 2nd of November, on the theme, The Will to Good, Rethinking International Relationships. It's held at all three centers, Geneva, London, and New York, over that day, and details will be posted on the World Goodwill website, www.worldgoodwill.org. We're going to put up PowerPoint of some other meetings as well. So I just wanted to thank you all so much and look forward to meeting up again.